All right, guys, Charizard overprint, over demand, this, that, this, that, this, that. We keep hearing about it. I am going to give you my perspective on where I think with Charizard and why they keep putting it out as the main set. And look, I'm coming from a professional marketing perspective. I am a marketer that works, my job is pretty much looking and analyzing data and creating content of trends and things. So that is what I do for a living. And I want to now go take that perspective of why Charizard is everywhere. And to kind of give you guys a clear perspective to know that it's not because of anything other than popularity. So the big thing here that I think a lot of people have been talking about Charizard in particular, like, wow, he's everywhere, he's everywhere. Well, they're right, because you've got, just off the top of my head, you had Darkness Ablaze. You had the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. You had the Hidden Fates Charizard, the Shiny. You had the Champion's Path Hyper Rare Charizard. You had the Shining Fates Charizard. You had the Obsidian Flames with 3 different versions of Charizard. You had now with the Paldean Fates, we've also got one of the chase cards is the Charizard. Then we look at even the video games, the Sword and Shield, the Leon, the main antagonist. His Pokemon is a Charizard. Then the Mega Evolutions, you had 2 different versions of Charizard as the Mega Evolutions. Then he had the Gigantamax form. You continuously have this huge amount of Charizard and they overflood it. But there is a reason for it. And the reason is what I want to go through today. When we look at Charizard as a card, and when I look at it as a marketer, and when I think about the way their teams would do it, it's just intelligent business decisions. So I'm on Google Trends, and this is a real common thing that we use in marketing. So, it's not just for Pokemon. Any industry uses this. And what we do is we analyze trends to see where the card is going to go. So this is a worldwide, from 2004 to present. This is when the marketing data was available from Google. You can see the interest over time. Now, just so you guys know, 0 and 100. 100 means the most popular this term has ever been in its history. And 0 is the least popular it's been. So it measures it against itself. It's a comparison of its own popularity. So you can see here, the peak of popularity for Charizard was August 2016, which I think that probably correlates with Pokemon Go. But you can see here, since then it had this crazy big dip, and it was just like here, 2018, 2019. Now let's look at it again. You got 2020, November, that would have been the TCG COVID boom. And it kept going. And now you can see January 2023, it's back. It's nearly at that level. What I want to do now is I want to show you in comparison to other Pokemon. So let's go do this. So here on the compare tool, you can just do here. So I'm going to just put in here Lucario. So, a pretty popular Pokemon. So we can say, hey, why don't they made Crown Zenith Lucario, but why don't we all have these heaps of Lucario sets? Well, let's just do Lucario as a search term, and we're doing a comparison, right? So you can see the red being Lucario, the blue being Charizard. Just there you can see volume is pretty much, that looks to me around 1/3. And you can see that the popularity of the search term. So let's go. Now, obviously Lucario boomed in popularity in 2007 when it released, or 2006 what it was for Gen 4. But let's now look at it and let's go through it here. You can see that the booms of the search terms correlate with Pokemon being more popular. So, when we're going here to 2016, Pokemon Go came, you can see both of them got a spike. But when you're comparing them to each other, look at the difference, man. Like, Lucario is just worlds behind Charizard as a Pokemon in terms of the popularity. And no matter even when these booms happen and when popularity with Pokemon goes up, Lucario is literally always 1/3 behind him. So their marketing team would be looking at this with even better and stronger and more intelligent tools. And they'd be looking at this and being like, well, we can make a Lucario set, but we know literally with all their data that it's probably going to do 1/3 as good as if we did a Charizard set. Same thing. I mean, let's replace Lucario. Let's do something like maybe like, I don't know, Raichu, right? So if we look at Raichu, cool Pokemon. Bam, you can see, there you go. Look at the comparison now. You got Charizard there and Raichu is now, that looks to me, probably around 1/6. Right? Same thing. You can see when they had their bumps, the Raichu has small bumps versus when... Now, I've got a feeling that 2018, 2017 would have been a lowland Raichu. Could be wrong. But look at this. Like, even now, like, Raichu is worlds behind Charizard on popularity. So when they're looking at this and they're making these decisions, it is not. It's purely tactical decisions by their marketing team. When they do their research, they provide the data. They say, hey, let's do Charizard. Why? Because they can probably see every time they put a Charizard set out that the sales go wild with Charizard. But I mean, let's look at something like a Pokemon like, what's a really popular one? Let's go Mewtwo, right? Mewtwo versus Charizard. Look at this. So you can see Mewtwo and Charizard were competing. Then you had this thing, 2013. I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe someone in the comments knows what this spike was in November 2013 with Charizard. I do not. I've got no idea. Probably have to research that. But you can see Mewtwo bumped in 2015, and then Pokemon Go, Mewtwo completely overtook Charizard at this point. And it had a little bit of a phase, and I reckon the 2019 would have been around that Detective Pikachu phase, being one of the main characters. But same thing, it's dropped off now. And no matter how popular, I guess these spikes correlate with Pokemon's popularity. No matter how popular Pokemon is, even Mewtwo is always a few steps behind Charizard. And it looks like in this case, right now, it looks like it's half as popular. So all these decisions are based purely on the data that they have and the popularity. And what I really think that they're doing here, and whether or not it's to their benefit, I think Pokemon's in a very, very unique spot. They're kind of there's no competition for them. Like there's no Pocket Monster or some sort of, any sort of competition. Like when they released, they actually had to compete with Digimon. They had Yu-Gi-Oh! Booming, which even though it was different, it wasn't exactly like catching, they had to compete with that. They had so much more competition. Now they're in their own lane, and I think what they want to do is they want to just stay at the top. So they would rather double down on something like Charizard, something like Pikachu, rather than trying to be experimental. And I think whether or not this is going to work out for them in the long term, I'm not sure. But these are the decisions they're making. So, you know, going further on this, like even let's look at another starter, right? Look at Typhlosion. So here we go, Charizard versus Typhlosion. Look at the difference, man. That's like 1/20th. So no matter how much you like Typhlosion, no matter how much you're a fan and you're a personal fan, the market doesn't respond to Typhlosion the same way it responds to Charizard. So it's just way too hard for their team to say, you know what, we're going to put money into making a Typhlosion product, and Typhlosion's going to be the main chase card of this set, because when they're looking at this, they're like, we can't make that decision. We literally, according to the data and all that we have, we cannot. We have to choose one of the popular Pokemon to go with, which is going to be Charizard, Pikachu, Umbreon, Rayquaza, etc., etc. Now, I also use a tool, like in Google Ads, we can use also these tools, which are like ways to look into it. When you look at Charizard here, this is just in Australia too. I'm not even going into America or US. I just wanted to show it in Australia. The average monthly searches for Charizard are 10,000 to 100,000. Everything like Gyarados, Lucario, Milotic are 1,000 to 10,000. So you can just see, no matter which way you look, no matter how you go about it, Charizard is the more popular Pokemon. When I'm thinking about why Charizard is the face of the set, it comes out in every set. It's always one of the chase cards. It's pretty simple. It just comes down to money. And it comes down to kids, teenagers, adults collecting, nostalgia collectors. They know that, hey, if we add Charizard, there's going to be a collector that adds it to a collection. I can guarantee you, if you took any Pokemon out of any of the, whatever there is, 900 or 1,000, that there would be the most amount of Charizard collectors in this hobby. They probably try to collect every Charizard variation of every card possible. So when they release a set with a Charizard, they probably know that, hey, the collectors are going to come out, they're going to get it. And also they know, hey, we just released Charizard in Sword and Shield. He had his second boom. The kids are going to want to try and get the Charizard. It's just a good decision by them. And I applaud them for, you know, making these tactical decisions, because anyone in marketing would do this research. They would say, hey, this, and they're just listening to the data. So the only way Charizard will not work and will not be the main forefront of the card is not if people complain. It's simply if it just stops making money. So it's not going to be something like unless a new Pokemon comes and takes it over its popularity, or something comes in, it's going to be very hard for Pokemon to take away their main card, which collectors, you know, all the kids in the hobby, everyone just gravitates towards that one Pokemon. Right now, I think Charizard is their golden goose, and I think it's going to continue to be their golden goose for the foreseeable future until something or a new Pokemon or something comes out. And you know, it could happen. Like look at Mewtwo. We just saw in that 2016 data, Mewtwo during the Pokemon Go and Detective Pikachu era was more popular in Charizard in popularity. It was nailing it. So, you know, then they might release Mewtwo sets or they might release anything. Oh, we don't know. We can't predict the future, but that it is just good to know when they make these decisions, it is to do with the market. So hope this video was helpful, and I hope it was a bit of a different take on how, you know, people make decisions in this. When I look at investing and all that, I love to look at trends of data, because when you can see trends and you can see where things are popular, it's very likely that if it's popular today, you like looking at Charizard, it was popular today, it was popular in 2004. So, you know, we can't predict the future, but this is just how we make decisions. So, no, really cool. I really hope that you enjoyed that video, guys. Chuck a subscribe, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.